Hello people and welcome to another video. In this video I wanted to go over my ultralight backpacking loadout for 2016. I've done a couple of these videos now and this year I've got it to its lightest loadout I've possibly ever gotten to say I'm going away for 6 days. I'm on the verge of going to my Hadrian's Wall hike, so this bag here is what I'm taking with me, and everything inside its contents is everything I'm going to be taking on the Hadrian's Wall trip, which videos will follow after this video. So, without further ado, let's get into it and I'll break it down and hopefully you guys can learn a thing or two or maybe upgrade your own kits. So the pack itself, I've been using this a while now. It's the Ultralight Mountain Gear Wind Rider, and it's a 55 litre pack. The overall weight of this for this trip is currently sitting at 14 kilograms, which is pretty darn good to say I've got 6 days worth of food in there. When I get down to the food, I am going to do a separate video to explain what food I'm taking. But anyway, and the thing that I'm not adding onto the weight of this is the walking poles. I've got 2 Craghopper walking poles here. I'm not going to be carrying them on my back, I am going to be using them, so I'm not actually counting them as being on my back. But those together are about 500 grams. Now obviously the thing about this pack is that it's got the mesh on the outside. A very useful thing, because you can put the extra things in there. For example, wet tarps, blah de blah de blah. Currently sitting there are my Crocs. I love carrying Crocs. They are fantastic for when you get to camp and you can take your shoes off, let your feet air out, let your socks air out, so on and so forth. Crocs are brilliant. On the side of the pack, I've got my smart water bottles with aqua clips on the side. Aqua clip. That didn't focus. But they will get transferred onto my hip belt when we start hiking. I'm carrying with me 750 millilitres of meths for my cool Duracone. This is a little bit more than I should need. However, I've worked it out to be about 500 millilitres that I need dead on. But I'm taking a bit of extra for contingency. I've got my map on the side here on the pulley system. Sorry, not my map, my compass. My map's inside the pack. On the other side I've got another smart water bottle, and I've got my Ultra Pod for the camera. The camera I'll be taking is the camera I am currently recording on, which is the Sony RX 100 Mark III. On the straps here I've got this funky little pocket which hangs kind of on your strap, and that's for the camera. Very nifty because it enables me to be able to whip it out quickly and do it whatever videoing and camera pictures or whatever. On the top there's obviously a strap, and that just carries my little seat pad. Quite useful if you're just stopping off for a little sit or a little brew break or whatever, just to sit down, saves your bum from getting wet, or just a bit of comfort. So let's open the pack and I'll show you what's inside. So on top I've got my waterproof. This is actually just a very cheap pack-away Mac by Regatta. I didn't want to be carrying my big waterproof because it's not forecast that much rain, and this only weighs about 190 grams, so it's quite lightweight. To say, if it was forecast heavier rain I'd take my serious waterproof, but it's not, so I'm going to be able to get away with this this lighter weight one. Second up on top I've got my Craghopper mid-layer fleece. If it does get a little bit chilly while walking, I can throw this on. Next up on top, and something that me and the group are going to be sharing as we go, is I've bought this Hadrian's Wall path guide. It's very cool actually. It's a bit weighty, but it basically takes you through the Hadrian's Wall walk as we'll be walking it. It's designed for walkers. and it shows you areas of interest, historical landmarks, sorry, and it just basically explains a lot of cool things that you wouldn't necessarily know about if you just walk it yourself. So it's giving the trip that little bit more meaning, and it gives it that little bit more interest, and I definitely think it's worth its weight in gold. But also the thing that came with it, which I didn't realise, is a separate little booklet. I think this cost me about £12, and it's so worth it. Let me get it out for you. It comes with a separate booklet which actually has a proper OS map zoomed in all the way along, and it marks the path for you. So I'm actually going to be using this instead of a normal map. We've got GPS coverage and stuff, and it's all paid, so we shouldn't have a problem in terms of mappage. But this is a nice little map which I'm going to take with us. So yeah, and we're going to, me and the rest of the pack are going to share this, and we're all just going to take turns on reading out the areas that we're going to be travelling through. So that's a cool little find. Next up, I've got my Maxpedition organiser. I considered not taking the organiser to really start shredding grams, but actually when I thought about it and I considered what all this would look like if I put this in a random plastic bag, it would have been horrendous. It would have been so confusing trying to find stuff. So this Maxpedition organiser is only about 100 grams, and it's worth its weight in gold because it just keeps everything organised. A quick run through what's in here. I've got my very small Victorinox penknife, a very, very small one, so like a keychain one. iPod, my MSR folding spoon, spare memory card for the camera. I've got a vape there. I've got some jute twine. Jute twine is, I think it's very important, purely because having that kind of cord, throwaway cordage, that's the word I'm after. Having throwaway cordage is essential in my opinion. You can use it for so many little things that you don't necessarily think about. In the back of here, I've got my juice box. This is a PowerGen juice box, fully charged and ready to rock and roll. Spare battery for the camera, lighter. I've got a small lantern here which will be for the tent. That's by my friend Paul Stokes, who also made the pouch that I put my camera in. I will leave his link in the description because he makes some fantastic ultralight accessory type gear for backpackers, and the quality is amazing, so I'll leave his link and you can have a little browse on there. But that's a little ultralight, I think it's 9 grams that lantern is, and it illuminates the tent very nicely. And then I've got chargers for various different things. And in the back there I've got a small sewing kit in case I do need to sew anything. So that keeps all that neatly packaged away. And like I said, it's just having that organisation when you're on the trail, so you're not going to lose things. It's worth the wait, absolutely. I've got my small rehydrating bag here, so once I've boiled my water and I've put my food in the bag and it's rehydrating, I can put it in there and that will keep it warm while it's rehydrating. Here I've got my caldera cone system, which I still need to do a review on. That's in there with lighter and stove. That fits into the Tokes 850ml pot, and the lid is inside this Loadout folding cup 600ml. And all that is my cook system and brew system all in one. I think that comes to a total weight of somewhere around the 320 gram mark, I believe. I've also noticed that the exposure on this camera is going crazy, so I apologise for that. Next up is some oddments, just a few miscellaneous items. I've got my speaker in there, I've got a mozzie net, I've got a head torch, I've got a survival blanket, mozzie repellent, earplugs, and that's about it in there. Just a few miscellaneous items that don't really use very often, and they are in a Hyperlight mountain gear cubicle by little stuff pouch. What else have we got in the goodie bag? Recently bought this poop trowel. I think it's 9 grams of trowelage. Very useful for a trip like this where we're not necessarily going to have many branches or anything to make digging sticks out of. So having a trowel that's just on standby when you need to do your business is going to be worth its weight in gold. So very interested to see how that holds out, but it looks like it's going to be a very good piece of kit. trying a new system out at the minute. This is the soya squeeze, but I've actually wrapped it in a smart water bottle, but I've cut the top off the water bottle. The filter and the syringe are currently in the bottle, and I've wrapped the bag around. I've wrapped the bag around it. The idea with the bottle is that you use the bottle to collect your dirty water and pour it into the bag, so it's more efficient. Because I don't know if you ever tried filling these bags up in streams, it can be a little bit stressful at times. So having that bottle, in theory, should make it a little bit easier, but we'll see. Next up is the food. Now, look at this bad boy. Yes, it does fill the whole bag. That right there is 4 kilograms of beautiful, beautiful food. I'm going to run through that in another video. Well, you got 4 kilos of food there. When I did my Norway trip last year, I wouldn't say I was starving, but I was actively hungry through the majority of the trip. I didn't take quite enough food. I was always at that, after each meal, I still had that little bit of a hole that could have been filled. Subsequently, I am going OTT on this trip, and I think I'm taking too much food, but I'm going to see, and between those 2 trips, I'm going to find a middle ground and regulate what kind of food I'm taking from here on in. But to be honest, I think I'm probably going to eat it all, because if the food's there, I'm going to eat it. So we'll see. Next up, I have another 1 kilogram worth of food. That other bag you just saw is my breakfast, evening meals, and the drinks and stuff like that. Everything apart from lunches. This here is lunches. It's in a separate bag, so at lunchtime when we do a lunch stop, I can pull the one bag out and my lunches are in here. I haven't got to sift through that massive bag. Organisation is where it's at. What's next? Rubbish bag. The one thing that most people always forget is just a carrier bag to put your rubbish items in. When you've eaten your meals out of your bag and you've got those manky bags full of old food, where do you put them? Just take a small bag so you've got somewhere to put them and store them away, ready for when you find a bin. Small wash kit. I plan to wash my clothes and myself in streams when and where I can. Hygiene is important to me, but at the same time I don't take it to the nth degree. I wash when and where I need to, and just keep that general level of hygiene. When you're walking with other people, hygiene is very important. So in here I've got a full pack of travel baby wipes. I've got a full toilet roll. I've got toothpaste, half a toothbrush, a small mesh bag with some eco soap in. Very important to use eco soap and not normal soap, because normal soap is harmful to the environment. So if you carry some eco soap, that's more nature friendly. Keep it in that mesh bag because you can use it as a bit of a scrubber to scrub yourself down, and you can also hang it up and let it drip dry. That's pretty much it in terms of wash kits and hygiene. Next up, I've got my personal first aid kit. I've got everything in here that I feel like I need to sustain myself. Painkillers, diarrhea tablets, hay fever tablets, bandages, padding, plasters, blister plasters, foot tape, you name it, it's in here. Eye wash, pins, it's pretty much all in here in these little compact things. So that's my first aid kit. Not enough people carry first aid kits. In the back of the pouch are wraps. I have, I believe, 10 wraps in the back of the pouch. They're quite heavy, they're quite dense, but they're good for lunches. I will explain that in another video. Bit of a luxury item here, but this is my Thermarest chair. It just enables me to take my Thermarest and fold it up, make a chair out of it. At the end of each day, it's going to be so nice to be able to rest my back, sit and read my book. 200 grams, worth it. Just got my down jacket here. It's just a no-name down jacket, but I love the thing. I think it weighs 200 and some grams. It's just a thin layer that I can put on when I get to camp. So it does get chilly after you stop walking. So there you go. got Thermarest X Lite, and I've got this small model. I think it weighs 207 grams. I've tested this a few times and I absolutely love it. And also in here is my X-Ped inflatable medium-sized pillow. So all that together is one little sleep system. And finally, oh, I say finally, in the back section I have my ground sheet. Haven't tried this yet, so it's a first for this trip, but my friend Paul Stokes, who makes all this, the accessories and stuff, recommended I try this. This is window laminating plastic. So you use this if you have single glazed windows and you want to give them a little bit more insulation. In theory, this is an ultralight ground sheet. We'll see how it works. I think it's going to be fine. I've double layered it so it's got that little bit more resistance to the ground. But that weighs a total of about 20 something grams. It doesn't weigh anything at all. It's just enough for my sleep mat to go on. Last but not least, I keep saying this, it's not last. Spare clothes are in this Hyperlight Mountain Gear Cuban Fibre stuff sack. In here I have a spare pair of merino wool socks, spare pair of boxers, sleeping top and thermal bottoms, my hat, my gloves and a buff. I think that's about it. The clothes I'm wearing are the clothes I will stay in. Merino wool top, so that kind of sustains itself, and my trousers are trousers. And I mean it this time, last but not least. In the bottom of my pack, I have my down sleeping bag. It's not in a stuff sack because I like the concept of putting it in a drawstring bag, so it's very loose and it can mould to the bottom of your pack perfectly, and you can squeeze it right down. I feel like it fills the space in the bottom of the pack a lot better than it would do if it was in a stuff sack. And that is actually just a cheap down sleeping bag from AliExpress. It's actually very good. It's a summer sleeping bag, weighs about 400 grams. So there you go, that's my sleeping bag. My pack is now empty. I'm going to repack this and I'm off to Hadrian's Wall tomorrow. If you have any recommendations that you think I could benefit from, I'm still looking to lighten my load. I've got a few things that I feel like I can upgrade, and I will do. But basically what I've come to terms with is I'm lightening my load so I can basically carry more luxury items so I can enjoy my trip more. I'm young, I'm physically fit, I know I can carry like 15 kilos for a week because I've done it before. So, and comfortably as well, it's not like it's uncomfortable. So, for me, lightening my load just means that I can carry a few more luxury items to make my trip a little bit more enjoyable. That's kind of what I've come to terms with. And at the minute, 14 kilograms as a starting overall loadout, I'm very pleased with, and I should be ending up with about, once all my food's been eaten, I should be finishing the trip on about 9 kilograms. So it's only going to get easier as it goes on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Any questions, let me know. Any recommendations, let me know. I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon. That shit got dead.